next. I don't like how people use her story as a punchline.
Yeah,
No pun intended, obviously. But
yeah.
as far as I was up here looking, and there are popular songs by some of people's favorites where they reference anime, Tina Turner.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a line that says, beat it like Ike beat Tina. Now,
Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Rated Reflections, the podcast where music, film, identity, and healing come together to tell the truth about our culture that some of us may not be ready to hear, right? I am your host, the body positive goddess, your self love coach, and I assist women face their shadows, honor their bodies, and stand on business while they transform and heal. And this man right here, okay, this is my co-host, Mr. Raquez Rouse. Go ahead and take the mic, Raquez, and introduce yourself.
what's happening, everybody? My name is Raquez. I am the creator of the Shape Campaign. The Shape Campaign is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful project that I created to celebrate women, celebrate their bodies, their beauty, and also their stories as well. I'm really big
Absolutely.
on all things creative, and I'm all about empowering people to show up for themselves in the best way and to embrace their beauty inside and out.
Absolutely, Quez. That was a beautiful introduction of what you do. And that's just a little bit of what you do, sir. But anywho, we're gonna get into that a later
Oh, I
a
do a lot
later
of
episode.
things. I
You
do a
do a
lot of
lot of
things,
things.
y'all.
Yes. Okay. All right, y'all. And today we're diving into a film that shook the households, the culture. It shifted the conversations and exposed the cost of survival, I would say. What you think, Quez?
Today
I
is a
will go
very
ahead.
special day. I want to say this before we announce what. Well,
Okay, let's
the cat's already out of the bag, but
okay.
I am super excited for today's whenever you're watching for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This movie really changed my life. I first saw it at the age of 15, and it just it, it's like I dare to say this is my favorite movie of all time. That's my secret. This is my
Wow.
favorite movie of all time. So go ahead,
Okay.
take it away.
No, that was beautiful, actually. We're gonna get into that as well. So we're gonna get into what's love got to do with it. The
What's
story.
up?
Go ahead. Hey, hey.
Yes.
Yeah. This is about the story of the legendary, the late Tina Turner, y'all. Okay. And we're
Yes.
breaking down the key scenes, the parts people maybe never talk about like that. You know what I'm saying? And the deeper truths about identity, trauma, healing, and all the things,
Mhm.
transformation, because this movie wasn't just entertainment, it was a mirror,
Mhm.
especially in the Black community, y'all.
Mhm.
So, did you have anything to add to that, Mr. Raquez?
Yes. So
Yes.
I normally go through like this whole like formal biography of the
Hmm.
project's artist, but I'll say for me, just I'm gonna tell you what I love about Tina Turner, the great, amazing late Tina Turner. I To me, she is more than just a musician, a singer. Like she is resilience. She is the if you
Absolutely.
looked up the definition of resilience,
Yeah, it would be
her
her.
face would be right there.
It would.
And I don't say that to be like corny or anything, but like for real, she is someone that I really have she changed my life. Just her story, her
Mm.
like and I think that her story as well known and as iconic as she is, I still feel
Mhm.
like she doesn't get as much
She don't get her roses, her
recognition
flowers.
or roses or
Yeah.
praises as she deserves because she's amazing and a phenomenal woman. But for those that do not know of Tina Turner, she was and is a great artist. She was a musician that changed the culture of rock and roll.
Absolutely.
She, I don't have, like I said, I don't have my full biography that I'm gonna go through tonight. But as we go through her biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It, you'll get to learn more about her soon enough. And actually, what's your introduction to Tina Turner?
Okay, so my introduction. So what I will say is that Tina Turner, she is to me, she's a goddess, a queen that I feel like a lot of Black women um can relate to, especially when it comes to the DV. I don't know if we can really say it on YouTube or whatever.
Domestic
The
V.
Yeah,
Domestic V is
domestic
what we'll call
V.
it. Yeah.
Because a lot of women, I'm not going to just say women, but people in general, they've been through it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And the abandonment issues and all that good stuff. But what I will say is, because I know we're going to dig deeper into that later on. What I will say is I feel like she left a mark for sure.
Yeah, for
She
sure.
truly left a mark. So are you ready, Quest, to go ahead and get into our soul check-in for tonight with Miss
Let's
Tina
do it.
Turner?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Yes, yes, yes. All right, for sure.
Damn.
Okay. Before we go ahead and get on this journey, what's your Tina Turner energy? Okay. You could pick a lyric, you could pick a moment or vibe. What is your
I was
Tina
thinking
Turner?
about this earlier. Proud
Yes.
Mary. Proud Mary is my Tina Turner
Okay.
energy. And the reason why I say that one is because even though that's like not her original song, it's a cover that she did. But I, the lyrics to me, it represents someone that is relentless with the work ethic. They're working hard. They are going at it. That's how every time I listen to that, when I listen to that when I'm working out or when like I'm doing something where it's like fast paced or I need some energy, that song gives me that boost because it just
Mm,
it inspires me to push. So Proud Mary is that's the type of time I'm on.
I feel that. I love that you're transmuting the energy to get what you need to get done. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So for me today, I would say that my spirit is giving I didn't do nothing to him, but he keeps coming after me type of vibe.
Hmm.
Not in a literal sense, it's more of a sense of fighting battles you ain't asked for. Because we gotta go through stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you still trying to find the strength in yourself to fight it or go above it or to rise above it, I would say. So, and I would to say with Tina Turner's story, her blueprint is for it's basically rising and being resilient. So yeah, that's my little
So
tidbit.
I don't know if I heard the song. Is that a song or a lyric
No, it
that
was in the
you
movie. It was just that was
just
what
the
she
movie?
said.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I if I had to assign a song based on what you just said, it'd be I Don't Want to Fight.
Yes, it would
I
be
Don't
I
Want to
don't want
Fight.
to fight.
And
Yeah,
that's actually part of the song's soundtrack, of the movie
yes,
soundtrack. So I think
yes,
that's a beautiful song. Yes.
absolutely.
So you ready to jump into what's love got to do with it?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get into this scene. So, y'all, in the beginning, it was enough for me. Like this scene hits harder when you watch it as an adult, but it was the
Oh,
beginning
real
where,
quick, actually, before
yeah,
my pardon me for interrupting. Before we do that, I just want to put a disclaimer out. This we are only going to be basing our analysis on the film. What's love got to do
yes,
with it? Not
yes,
necessarily her actual life, because there are certain liberties that the film took that is not necessarily accurately depict what happened in her life. So you have to romanticize some things and some things they actually left out because it may have been
yeah,
too much. So
yeah.
just want to put that out there. So we're only basing our analysis. We may reference certain things like reality things, but most of it's going to be based on the film strictly.
hmm
All right,
I
go ahead.
agree. Yeah, I'm glad you put that disclaimer out there because you're gonna always have somebody in the comments. Well, this ain't what we just going by the movie. That's it.
Yes. Argue
Okay.
with your mama, not me. But
Okay, and period. So I call this scene. This is in the very beginning. I would call this scene like the abandoned child. This is the scene. Like I said, it hits harder when you're an adult. Most people gloss over that Tina's childhood. That's where just with any adult, that's where your wounds, that's how everything, that's how shit start, right? This is where her voice was shaped. That's how I feel to me, even
mhm,
with the abandon, you see the abandonment, we see the abandonment when her mom left her out,
mhm,
just downright just left her ass. You know what I'm saying? And she
mhm,
was a child, what, between 5 and 7 years old. We see the emotional neglect, excuse me. The mommy and daddy wounds, like I just said. We see
mhm,
a little girl learning early that safety is not guaranteed, and what people also don't talk about is childhood trauma writes the script for the relationships we accept as adults. And Miss Anna May didn't just grow up. Um, well, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself, but all I'm saying is we can kind of see how everything starts,
Yeah,
with the abandonment issues. Yeah.
definitely, for sure. And even so, Tina Turner's actual name is Anna Mae Bullock. That's her birth
Mhm.
name. She later adopted the name Tina Turner as a stage name, and we'll get to that. I want to even back up to with the first opening scene where she's in the choir singing, and she is singing her little heart out. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. For me, that I always get chills when I watch that scene because I see like I see a lot of myself in Tina's story. So that's why, like, for me, this is probably another reason why it's my favorite movie. But just how young, innocent she was, and the choir director trying to dull her shine,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's like they think they're what they think. And for me, maybe this kind of reminds me like with me. Even for example, when I started photography, and I love my grandma, so I'm not throwing her under the bus or anything, but she didn't understand. She didn't really understand what I was doing when I first started, so she interpreted it as me doing like demonic kind of like outlandish kind of art, because my art was I would do like more like self portraits, but I would do them in ways that were like it wasn't necessarily smile
Art.
take
It was
it was
art.
like it was art. And so
Mhm.
she didn't understand it, so she kind of at first she was not as accepting of it early on. And it kind of reminds me of with Tina Turner with the choir director. You're dulling the shine of this young lady, you're of this young little girl, and trying to make her not feel proud of and she's doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? She's being herself. And it makes me think about all of the kids that are misunderstood early on because maybe their gift is not necessarily what is the conventional view of what it should look like. And we
Mhm.
sometimes can admonish them from shining and being themselves and being free. And then they get a lot of times I think our insecurities develop when we're young because of people making us or telling us we're wrong or telling us what we do is bad. But if we never had even heard anything bad about it, we probably would have been so confident in who we were as early on. And if affirming kids early on, I think is super important because it
Absolutely.
allows them to feel confident in themselves so they won't go through life and grow up doubting themselves. So
Yeah,
I love
I
that
agree.
scene. That scene like that, I always get chills when I see her like just like she's and you just see the fervor and the passion of her
Yes.
singing that song. And even all the way as the lady was grabbing her by her ear walking her out the church,
That was a bit much.
it was a lot much.
It was a
And
bit,
so
yeah, because she was just like you said, she was just being her most authentic self, and she sound good, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? She sound better
yeah,
than the choir itself, she should have been
yeah.
the lead singer.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
fact that she kicked her out the church was like, "Okay, now see you doing
Hmm.
too much. Just give her the mic
Hmm.
and let her lead. You can clearly
Hmm.
see if she needs to lead, you know?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I always draw back to that scene. And then even when, like you were saying, we get to her walking down the dirt path in Nutbush, Tennessee, little small
Mhm.
town, I can relate to that. Just she seemed like she was a child that spent a lot of time by herself because she
Yeah.
didn't have because her sister had left with her mom when her mom had abandoned her to move to St. Louis, Missouri. So I see a lot of parallels with my story, but we're not. It's not about me, but yeah. So I just wanted to draw that. But yeah, we're so now we are at the scene where she gets to her grandmother goes back to the grandma's house, and she's end up staying with her grandma because her mom left because her it wasn't really specifically explained if that was her husband or her boyfriend or Anime's father,
Yeah, that
but it
part.
was someone that she was romantically involved with that was abusive. And that'll come up again, even like what you said, Ashley, about what you see as a kid, you end up reliving sometimes because of,
Absolutely.
trauma and things like that.
That's
So
all you know. Mhm.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, so she talks to her grandma, tells her, she's like, when is she coming back to get me? And the grandma says, she ain't, honey. She just ain't. And
Yeah.
grandma do the best she can and take care of her. And Then we get to scene the next scene where she gets to a teenager. I think she's like maybe around 16. And then her grandmother has passed away. So she ends up moving to live with her mom and her sister in St.
Yeah.
Louis, Missouri.
That was a full circle moment for me. Like,
Oh,
I mean, the reason why I say that is because, okay, go ahead, go. Because I'm
no,
getting
go
ahead
ahead.
of
I want to
myself.
know. You're
I
not
feel
getting
like
ahead
I'm
of
getting,
yourself. Go ahead.
I do because it's gonna be that's another scene. That's gonna be a little later on. The fact that she left her and she moved in, her mama left her, with her grandmother. Her grandmother dies, and she moves in with her mother. And the way that her mom was treating her, of course, she didn't have a relationship with her, but it was like I feel like I felt like the mom felt like she was, I would say, I guess, obligated. Like she was always there. Like, okay, yeah, like I feel like I'm your mom. Even with like I said, I feel like some of this it should be a little later. It should be a little later because I feel like
Okay,
the way,
okay,
yeah, I gotta make it make sense later.
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we pick up with her getting to St. Louis with her mom. So then after she gets to St. Louis with her mom and sister, she's a little, I would say, apprehensive because she hasn't seen her mom since she was a little girl. And so her mom and sister didn't even recognize her when she got off the bus.
That's true.
And so from there, there's like this, I would think that there's a, it's obviously a reunion, but anime doesn't seem to be super, like you could tell she kind of got feeling some kind of way a little bit because even when like she was cooking dinner after she had finished cooking dinner, her mom says, "Oh, that was a wonderful sweet potato pie. Who taught you how to cook?" And she was like,
Mhm.
"Your grandma." She's like, and then Tina Turner was like, "Who else?" So you could
That
tell she
part,
kind of
because
had
you
a
weren't
little
here.
resentment. You weren't there,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Now, Ashley, let me ask you this because this wasn't your first time seeing this film, right?
I've watched it, but it was years
Years ago.
ago. Yes. Yeah.
So with the way I'm gonna call her anime for now, since that's who
Yeah,
she
that's
was in
fine.
this moment. With
Mhm.
anime, what were your thoughts on why her mom left? Do you feel like her mom should have taken her with her
Hell
sister?
yeah. Yes, absolutely, that's her child. I mean, I feel like the way she went about doing that was all the way effed up to me. That's your child. You take your child with you. Why would you, and then not didn't even have the common courtesy in the movie. I don't know, we don't know how it was in real life. But didn't even say, "Hey, baby, I love you." Not even like a goodbye hug. This is what's happening. Mommy gotta go. I may not be able to come back and see. Whatever the case was, it was just like, "Hey, baby, bye, beep beep." The car is driving off. So I just feel like, why not take her? Why not take her? It's your child. She was wrong. I do feel like that. I do.
Now let me play the other side then. Oh, what
Okay.
would be the reasons why she wouldn't have not taken her? Maybe she couldn't afford to take her. Maybe anime was in school and she didn't want to interrupt her schooling or something. I'm just trying to throw out other things that could maybe defend the mom because, like you said, this does happen in the Black community where my grandparents mainly raised me. My mom was around, but she wasn't necessarily. I don't feel like my mom was super mature enough to be able to raise me the way I needed to be raised because she was so young. So
I
maybe,
understand
but
that.
she took the other daughter. So that's another thing, So
She was
it's
older. She
she
didn't
was
have to take
older.
care. She could fend for herself. That's why she took her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like to me, this is just my opinion. I understand things happen, but the way that the mom's character was portrayed in the movie, I feel like it was more of a selfish reason why she did it. Now, because I feel like if it was more on the if it was more like, okay, yeah, I really cannot afford the baby. I feel like this is the if it was more of a better reason to why she left her, I feel like she would have went about doing it differently. I do feel
hmm
like that.
hmm
Because
Yeah.
the
And I
way she
also,
did it
oh,
was
go ahead.
just no. Who
Yeah,
knows?
for sure. No, I feel you on that. And just to highlight the cast, so Tina Turner is played by Angela Bassett. Her mom, Zelma Bullock, is played by the great Jennifer Lewis. Her
Mm-hmm.
sister was played by an actress by the name of mm, have it here in front of me. Phyllis Yvonne Stickney. And
Okay. Yeah.
then as we get to Ike Turner, he's played by Lawrence Fishburne. And so, yeah, I just wanted to highlight those actors. There's a lot of other actors in there, but those are like the main
Yeah.
characters. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. So so her sister Aileen was a little bit older, so therefore maybe she didn't. But it does seem a little bit like she wanted to be
Independent, free.
independent, but also maybe they had different dads.
Mm.
So maybe she didn't want. You know how like so a parent may say, "When I see you, I see your dad, or I see your mom in you,"
Oh,
and
I
she
see
may
what
have not
you're
even
saying.
wanted to see
I see
any
what
remnants
you're
of
saying.
that person. If that was her dad that
I
she
mean,
left.
I feel that a part of me do feel like she probably left for a man. And it could have been her the oldest daughter, the daddy. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
do know that I feel like she was fucked up for doing
Hmm.
anime like that, the way that she did. Mhm. I do.
When you were raised, Ashley, who raised you?
My parents.
Both parents. So you grew up with two parents in the household. So
Yeah.
for me, I grew up with two grandparents in the household, my
Mhm.
grandfather and grandmother. But I will say your parents are a little older, right?
Yes.
What are their ages?
About 66. Yeah, about
So
65.
they're probably just a little bit younger than my grandparents. So we kind of like they're the same similar generation.
Mhm.
My mom was 16 when she had me.
Okay.
So when I was probably around Anna's age, Tina Turner's age,
Mhm.
I was probably around like maybe no, excuse me. My mom was probably around like 23, 24.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it just the generational differences. So she was raised, but I do feel like my thing is, do you feel like if her mom hadn't taken her, that she would have been raised right?
Mm. That's a good point. That's a good point.
So maybe she was doing her a favor because she
I
was moving
see.
away to this place that she probably never been to before. They were from a small
That's
town, and so
true.
maybe she wanted to. I mean, she did take her later. It's not like she said, "Oh, you're no
When she
longer my
was
daughter."
older, yeah, when she was
Yeah,
older.
and
I
matter of
just
fact, no, she did say her dad. That was her dad because I remember her saying when they were in the kitchen, she was like,
yes,
"You were too young to understand what was going on between your daddy and me."
yeah.
So, but then it makes me wonder what happened to the dad because it's never
Right.
he was. Did he stay there with grandma and Anna, or did he leave too?
I don't
So
recall.
those are. I mean, I
Yeah.
know you don't have the
I mean,
answers to
yeah,
that,
you
but
don't have to
just
answer that, but
but there's just things something to think about. But anyway, so we get beyond that, and so Tina Turner's mom tells her sister, animated sister, Tina's sister, to take her to the nightclub with her. So her older sister, worked at a nightclub as a bartender. And so the first night they go there, they are, it's like almost like a juke joint kind of place, is what it reminds me
absolutely.
of. And so Tina is mesmerized because that's the first time she sees Ike.
Yeah.
And at this time, on this first visit to the club, she didn't have any interactions with him, but she becomes a fan after admiring his talent and his skill and all those things in his
Yeah.
band.
Mhm.
And so from there, then she goes back a second time, maybe like the next night or whatever. But she
Mhm.
wants to. So, oh yeah, let me not skip this part. At the club that very first night, they were doing like an open mic kind of thing,
Mhm.
like pass the mic. And so she didn't get her opportunity to sing that time, but no one knew that she could sing
Till she
later
opened the
on
mic. Yeah.
when she was home singing in the mirror in the bathroom as I feel like we all do at some point. And
Mhm.
so then her sister walked in on her singing and she
Yes.
encouraged her. Her
Yeah.
sister was a really pivotal person. You ever have like that person when they recognize a gift in you
Mhm.
and then they want to encourage you to nurture that and to continue to push.
Absolutely.
So like early on, if that choir director had done her part instead of being like a, you know what, we're gonna have to just leave that where it is. But if she would have done her part
Yeah.
and encouraged Anna to sing, she probably would have been more open about it. But she was
And
admonished from doing that early on.
ex
So it makes you not want to share and makes you want to hide who you are. So the next night they go back to the club, and this time Anna Mae gets the opportunity to sing. And so she gets on stage, and that's when everything changes. Now
Mhm.
the world has finally begin to see who she is, and the star
Yeah.
just that star never really went out. It just got dulled a little bit, but it brightens back and shines again. And
Mhm.
so she blows everybody away. And then so tell me what your thoughts are about this interaction when Ike and Tina first interact, and then they get to the next steps with the restaurant where they were in the restaurant and everything.
Yeah, so I feel like this is how predators move, okay? Like, Ike, he didn't come in violent, obviously not. He came in charming, a smooth talker. He was building, her confidence. He saw the gift, like you said, he saw the gift inside of her. He was definitely admiring her, showering her with the attention. But I feel like I don't want to sound crazy.
Just say it.
I feel like Tina wasn't looking for fame, even though that's who she was destined to be. She was destined to be a star. But I feel like she was looking for a belonging and she was already young, being that the way,
Hmm.
her childhood was. And the fact that he was like, "Oh my God, I love, your voice." You know what I'm saying? You got that star power. Basically what he was saying. So I feel like with him, Ike knew what she had. And I do feel like this is one of the red flags that people don't really like to discuss sometimes. Like the person who saves you from one life becomes like the oppressor of a new one, depending on if you're talking about Ike's character, because he was definitely a narcissist, and you could tell he was in pain, and you can tell that he himself dealt with a lot of issues, just how he was acting out. But I feel like he came in at the perfect time to, yes, set her up for what she needed to be set up for as a star. But I do feel like he saw that with her, he could be more than what he was. That's how I feel. Because I feel like
Okay.
even though he was doing his thing, that's just where I feel like without Tina Turner, I don't think he would have been as big as he was, what he would have been. Like, you know what I mean? Am I making sense? I
Yeah, you're
don't
making
I don't
perfect sense. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's truth to that because Tina did say, like, the actual in reality, Tina did say Ike won. She felt like he wanted to be a star, but he couldn't
Yes.
sing. He couldn't sing. He didn't have the
He
ability,
didn't
the
have the
talent to
gift.
sing. So
Right.
that, he needed her. But I didn't think about it from what you just said, like, well, I did in a way because it's like he saw dollar signs and she
He
saw
did.
belonging. And
Yes.
I didn't think about that part from her perspective. Like, so she also, not to say she used him, but
They
she
used each
saw
other.
something. It was like a symbiotic relationship
Yes. Yeah.
at first, at least
Yeah,
in the
at
very
first.
early
At first.
stages.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
even Tina in real life, she said that they were friends. They really had a really good friendship, and she felt like if they had never taken it to a romantic level, then they would have stayed probably friends, even in the older years. And
Wow.
so
Yeah.
that's another thing to really ask as well. Do you always feel like, because that's what confuses me when people say this stuff, like,
Mhm.
we should start out as friends first and then date. But I'm like, how do you what constitutes friends from actual relationship if you're just getting to know them and say let's just be friends first, and then, or they'll be like, well, you have to be friends first to be in a really solid relationship. How do you decipher the line between that?
That's a really good question. I believe that I feel that people should build a foundation first before they get into like a romantic situation, because you do want to get to know that person. I do feel like if you take your time and not rush, because in my experiences, when I rushed into a situation, it just did not, it never ended. It,
But
it just ended badly.
what constitutes something being rushed? So like when people say romantic, what considers it to be romantic?
I feel like what it considers it to be romantic, I mean, to me, there's a difference. There's a difference between friendship and a romantic. There are boundaries. There is definitely a
Okay,
boundary
I'm
there.
waiting. Let's
I
hear them.
feel like I feel like once you get into the intimate, because you can have intimate conversations as friends, but I do feel like there is a level of conversations and in intimacy or
Intimate meaning
action.
sexual? Is that what you mean by intimate?
No, because you can be sexual with a random person. But I'm talking about the intimate connection far as like those deep, dark conversations. You don't have to necessarily be dark, but those conversations that you feel like, okay, that's a soul conversation. Like that's a deep conversation we can have. Like you can vibe or the chemistry. Yeah. You can kind of see. Quiz, don't do that. You met some people that you know straight up like, okay, this person right here, I can see us being friends. We need to start as friends, or it has to be some type of, because I feel like you do have to be friends with your person before you have to like your friend. I mean, like your person before you actually take it to the next level with them.
Right, but to me that doesn't make a lot of sense because if you are friends with somebody, you're not looking at them romantically.
No, you're not.
Right.
Until
So you may
y'all
not
both
ever
have
look
that
at them
feeling.
romantically.
You have that, but it's like I feel like it's a feeling that you'll have. It's a feeling like, okay, no, I can. If you know somebody, be around them, you have conversations, y'all get to know each other. Then you're like, okay, I feel like this could go deeper than just friendship, because you can kind of know off the back if a person can be a friend or if they can, if it's something else there.
I feel
I
like
feel like
that's
that.
BS. That's what I
I'm
feel like.
sorry, I can't. I have.
Because that
You
you're not
can't
helping
tell
us
me.
single people out here with
You.
understanding it. This is not, and you're not fair because you already in a relationship.
But that I'm just telling you how it started with me and my person, because it was like friends. We were friends before we started engaging into intimate
So
conversations
if that's the
in the
case though, but
relationship.
when people like, let's just say you meet someone and they ask you for your number, they're not asking for your number because they only want to be friends with you.
Not necessarily, but you still got to get to know each other and just kind of
Correct. But
see where that
you
goes.
can do that. You can do that without saying we're only friends.
I see what you're
Right?
saying. More like, okay, we're just dating. We're getting to
Yeah.
know
Like
each
I
other.
feel like
Like
people make the, to me it just feels like semantics because it's like you say you have to be friends with someone first before you enter a relationship. But for me, I don't call people friends unless I've known them for a while. Like you're not my friend just because we talk regularly. Like we have to have gone through some stuff together for us to be friends. Like I take that word very seriously. So for me,
understood.
I'm not calling somebody that I'm interested in romantically as a friend because you're gonna stay a friend if you keep messing around. Because I don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's really confusing for me. I can understand getting to know the person,
I
like let's
understand
take our
that.
time to get to know each other, but I'm not gonna say we're friends because we're getting to know each other. We don't know each other like that. So we would never even be friends until we know each other. So how can we be friends before we got into a romantic? I don't know. So I just yeah.
I can understand what you're saying. Okay, okay, because I feel like it's kind of a contradiction a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
A little
Because
bit.
it's like it is, I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. I do. I get it. I get it.
And maybe y'all can help me out in the comment section because maybe y'all can help me understand because I don't
I,
understand. And I could be the one to say that. I don't understand it. But
it's
anyway,
cool. It's cool.
so where were we at? I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about yeah, when Ike and Tina met.
Yeah, so
in the
they met, and so Tina Turner did say that if they had never, she felt like they went wrong when they became romantic, and that takes me back to the other part. When you say being friends, sometimes when you cross that romantic boundary, it can tarnish the friendship. So maybe it
yes,
was good to stay friends.
yes. That's when they say it's a thin line between love and hate. It's the thin line between love and hate, and I feel like with friendship too, because you can love somebody and you can love somebody so deeply that it can just turn around and then it can be something else. It can be a whole nother situation. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah.
Y'all just be changing the
But it's
goalposts every time the finish line. I'm like,
but
now
yeah.
we're in a thin line between love and hate. We're not
Yeah,
even on that movie
exactly.
today.
What the fuck
Lord of
is this song? I'm
Mercy,
trying to
Lord of
remember this
Mercy.
shit. You ain't never heard that song before.
I think about the movie.
Yeah, but I'm
The
talking about
movie
that
with
song.
who was that by? A
I
thin line
can't
between.
it's a thin line between love and hate. I
I
can't
don't know
remember
that one.
the
I
damn song.
just think about the movie with
Oh,
with
um,
isn't Tay, is it not Tay Diggs, but it's with, I know it's with Lynn Whitfield and someone
uh,
else. That's the one I think of when I think of that
okay.
movie. But that the title of that. But anyway, so okay, so yeah, so they end up, they're at this diner, and that's where, and kind of like what you were saying, Ashley, about the predatory aspect of it, because he saw dollar signs in his
Yes, he
eyes
did.
when he looked at Tina, and he already started to plot and plan, and it's almost like textbook. I try to stay away from using the word narcissist. I just say narcissistic, because for me, I feel like I'm not a therapist or a psychologist to be able to diagnose someone, so I just say that was a narcissistic thing to do. But it definitely felt calculated,
It
if
was
anything
definitely
else.
calculated.
And
Yeah.
so they're at the diner, and he's already putting her on, saying, oh yeah, she is very good. He was saying that he had a new artist and everything, but her naivete, she didn't realize that he was
He
talking
was talking
about
about
her.
her. Yeah, he was talking about her
And
whole
then it
time.
got real.
Yeah, they did.
So, and then from there, she goes back home, and so now her mom is like trying to be the stoic good mom and all this. She's going to go to school and be a nurse and all these things. And so eventually Ike comes to the house because he wants her to perform with him. He wants Tina Anime to perform with him, and the mom is not really open to it. She's like, who is this Ike Turner? This little
Mhm.
girl is going to be a nurse. She's going to bring a steady paycheck in this house. But to me, it kind of seems like the mom is self-serving in all the
Very
things
much
she
so.
does,
Very much so. From the beginning.
from the beginning. And so it's like,
Mhm.
it makes me think about those moms that want to be like, well, I'm going to secure my happiness. So in my golden years, in my, what I'm saying, while I still have some golden years left, I want to secure my happiness, and the child, they'll just have to understand that I come first, essentially. And it makes me think about parents. Like, do you feel like she's justified in that, though, even though she was a victim at some point to the abuse of her own partner, her anime's mom?
I feel
But
I just feel like her mama just wants shit to me.
okay, I'm
Her
trying
mama,
to give her some leeway,
I'm
Miss Jennifer Lewis. I'm trying
sorry.
to give you some
I'm
leeway because I love
sorry
you.
with I love her as a person, but in this movie, the character that she played, she won't shit. Like you said, she was self-serving. She made sure
Mhm.
she was good. She thought about herself.
Yeah.
Oh, when she found out that when Ike pulled out that money, and he was
Mhm.
like, and she, oh, you got money. Oh, and you
Mhm.
come in here, and
Mhm.
plus he was already like flirting with her and giving
Mhm.
her, and she was liking that a little bit. So and then she put the money in her. When she put that money in her bra, I said, "Yep, I already know where this is going. I already knew
Mhm.
where it was going." She's very much so self-centered. She doesn't think about her daughter. She never thought about her daughter like that. I
Now I'm
just
gonna say,
I just I
I'm
don't.
gonna ask a question that could be a little
Go ahead.
controversial, but
Go ahead.
do you think that a woman like that, do you feel like they naturally attract men that are toxic or that are violent
Absolutely.
of nature because they are looking for the superficial things in life versus someone that treats them well?
A woman like the mom,
like the
or
mom. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
do believe that, yes, because I feel like I do.
Well, then some may say, well, that's what she get. And then what do you say to that? I don't say that. That's what some people might say. I'm just thinking for
The
the peanut
mom,
gallery.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about the mama. I feel like I'm gonna just be real. I feel like women like her shouldn't have kids. I'm gonna just be honest.
Mhm. But as
I'm
far what
just
I'm
be
saying, like as far as like being abused though, like when they find themselves in those circumstances.
No, far. I mean, I do not agree. Let me just say this. Let me clear this up because I keep focusing on just her character. I can't. But I don't feel that any woman or anybody should get abused. Period. I feel like you may have to cuss their ass out, but far as them getting abused, no, I don't feel like she was should have been abused.
Hmm.
But do I feel like she could have been put in her place quite a few times? Absolutely. And what I mean by that, I mean she could have got a tongue lashing. Absolutely.
By the man,
She could have got a tongue lashing by anybody. How she moving? The man, I mean, I just don't like her. I'm sorry. I just don't
oh,
like her. I don't like the character that she played. And I think with
sounds.
that, it's just making me feel like I wish I was there to cuss her ass out because I would have.
Hmm.
Somebody needed to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I
Hmm.
know. Do I agree with the question that you asked me? Should she been abused? Abused? No, no. I don't feel anyone should be abused, but I
Hmm.
do feel like she should have had got cussed the fuck out.
Hmm. Well,
And
yeah,
I
I
think
definitely don't feel like she
I'm
should have
just
been
gonna say that.
abused, but
Yeah,
I think
no.
more so some may say, well, that's if you are looking for that type of guy, like some people are they like more edgier kind of people or people that are bad boys or whatever. So you have to know that that might come with that. That's one
And
of the
that does come with
terms and
that
conditions that might come with,
with some. Yeah,
so
I
gotta read
understand.
the fine print on that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she then she allows Anime to go practice and rehearse with Ike and his band. So this is where things pick up a little bit with the she's entered into this world of performing and all these things, and he's trying to basically groom her for what he wants her to be, to polish her off as the diamond in the rough. And so, but this is where things get kind of dicey because we don't really know if he's actually married to Lorraine,
Oh
and
yeah.
Lorraine is the woman that is previously in the place that where Tina will eventually be. She's not a performer, but she is his love interest, and she's played by Penny Johnson Gerald. And so Lorraine seems to be over it. She's not here for it, and she's leery of Ike and his infidelity. Pretty much that's what who he is, and even just from what I have learned about the story, he not only messed with other women, but also the women that was within the same band, like the background
Mhm,
singers and stuff like that.
mhm.
So it gets to a point where Tina is or Anime ends up spending the night at their home. So his wife, we're just gonna say for the sake of just understanding who we're talking about, we're gonna say Ike and his girlfriend's home
Mhm.
that he originally was with. So Tina wakes up in the middle of the night with Lorraine holding a to her.
Yeah.
And then from there, she's like, what's going on here? And at this point, from what we can tell, is completely innocent, or
Right.
what it seems to be. There's been
Right.
nothing between Ike and Anime at this point. But eh, I think what I love about this moment, because as Lorraine could have taken her anger out on Anime and her and her,
Mhm.
she was like, "You're not even worth the bullet." And so then Anime, she goes into the bathroom, and
Yeah.
it's assumed, the assumption is that she self-harmed herself.
Yeah.
Thankfully it didn't go through, like she didn't pass away from it,
Right, right.
but she was carried out on a stretcher, and she was just saying, why is she here? Why is she here? And so then and so then
Oh, yeah, you stupid.
but so then she and I'm just laughing because the way she said, "Wow,"
The
she
way
like it
she,
was like
yeah,
she really did that. That thing stuck with me. Like, wow, she
yeah,
hit Ike. But anyway, so then you know this is where the manipulation comes in. I'm gonna let you take that part.
right, yeah. Okay, so to me, with that scene where I think they were on the porch and the woman didn't even get out of the freaking driveway yet, to go to the
Mhm.
hospital, and he's already up here crying, crying and feeding anime Tina BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, not verbatim, but basically just saying like, hey, we can go ahead and do this. She's not my wife,
Mhm.
I'm like, and then Tina is already she was green at that time. She was young. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like I think, correct me if I'm wrong. This is like her first relationship.
Yeah, and
You
even anime at the time, she was like, "Lorraine, she's your wife," and then that's when he tried to like justify, it. And
Yes,
he could have been lying too
yes,
about that, but he said, "Oh, we never been married." She stopped believing in me and
e-
all that. And this is the
exactly
pivotal point where the manipulation really gets sealed because he tells her she stopped believing in me, and then
that part.
Tina was like, "I wouldn't do that." Like saying she wouldn't do that to him. And he was telling her how everyone had left him and abandoned him and all these things. How many? I'm curious to know because I know I've heard this before, not necessarily that same way, but I've heard like people give me. I'm always leery of people. One thing I learned is I'm always leery of people that play victim, that sit in victim energy, especially very early on when they don't even know you. Like when you meet somebody and you think they're
Yeah,
just so handsome or whatever or fine
and charming and
and
all
or
that.
trying charming, but they give you their whole like life story, and it's like it's a sense of like it looks like they're
Run,
opening up and being vulnerable with you,
yeah,
and so it
run.
makes you feel like they trust you or there's something special about you that's causing them to want to be this vulnerable with you. Have you ever had that happen to you? Actually,
Absolutely. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
know that I have. There was this
I
guy
have. Yep.
that I had met. This was years ago, but he did that. He was very charismatic, very handsome, all that, but he would tell me all of this stuff about this ex of his and how all this ex did all this terrible stuff to him. And every time, what kind of perked my ears up was because every time any story he told me, he was always on the receiving end of it. And so for me, from what I've learned, that's always a red flag because if they're never showing or sharing how they contributed to the situation or using it as something that to me is what makes the difference between a victim and someone that is a survivor. Because I used to
Mhm.
feel like, oh, I don't want to be like woe is me or people that take pity for me. I feel like those type of people that are manipulative, they want pity, they want that sympathy, they want to garner that from you. But
Mhm.
people that are truly just saying trying to share that not from a manipulative standpoint, they're going to tell you what they learned from it, or they're going to frame it more of them being a survivor versus them being a victim. And I think that's
Yeah.
what makes the key difference between victimhood and surviving.
Mhm.
Would
Mhm.
you agree?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Because I've been in that situation as well too, and I think that's a part of love bombing. That's how they can get you,
Mm,
with the
gotcha.
manipulation, like
Hmm. Hmm.
just
Hmm.
feeding your head with a whole bunch of nonsense, and
Hmm.
boom, they hit you with the real them.
Hmm.
Eventually, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
So
Yes. Hmm.
anyway, so where was I? As I were. Okay, here we go. So, so that's where things really start to really get hot and heavy. And
Yes.
so from there, she is now the new, like she's got a new, a new attitude, as Patty LaBelle says.
Oh
And
yeah.
so we go through this
That's the
montage
medicine. Hmm.
of her, and maybe I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so the scene where she is performing with the band when they're saying "Make Me Over," that's after. No, I know what it is. That's after that scene because because the mom was like, "What do you mean you got her singing sounding like a man, sing rougher?" I'm just trying to, because there was a montage where she's singing "Make Me Over," and then they go through all like how the band got started, and so
Yes,
I think we got the roles a little, the sequence is a little reversed,
it's
but
okay.
basically we get to the part where she is now. You can see the glamour coming in,
Yes,
and matter of fact, I know where it is. After this scene, she is at the hair salon. And so Ike wants
yes,
to start controlling her image. So this is
yes.
another part. As you can see, each scene kind of from here on has another seed planted of that control. So there's like
Hmm.
another level of that control that he has. And so she's in in the hair salon, and the stylist, she's look like she don't know what she's doing, and she's slowly getting to giving her like a Marilyn Monroe like blonde look, and then she ends up frying her hair off, and
Yeah, she did.
the girl hair broke off and stuff and
Yeah,
all
it
that.
did.
And
Hmm.
so then my favorite line is that now you know you need an ass whooping. But which
Yeah.
when one of the background singers tell the lady that, and
Yep.
so from there that's when the wigs come into play, because now she needs something to
Hi, basically.
hide
Yeah.
the mishap.
The mishap.
And
Yep.
so her first performance when she was singing "Rock Me Baby,"
Hmm.
Ike, he was seemed a little confused, but he wasn't, he seemed to be okay with it after the fact. And so from there, we do realize he makes a statement about her gaining some weight, that, and then come to find out
Yeah, she was
she's
pregnant.
with child.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so from there, that's where things start to go even more quicker, because from there she has the first child,
Yeah.
and that is when
Mm.
she is at the hospital. And at this point, Ike is, putting his mesmerization on, if you want to call it that. And so there's a scene where they're at the hospital. The doctor lets her know that he lets him know that she's very ill. He's not releasing her for another 3 weeks. And then she is awakened in the middle of the night by Ike and his, I
Yeah.
guess his, I don't know what you call him, his
Bodyguard, I don't know.
bodyguard or whatever. And
Right.
so he he takes her out of the hospital.
Picks her up out the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's the audacity for me. The woman
Mm-hmm.
just had a baby. She was ill. And all you could think about is money right now. And so that alone right there should have been enough to be like, you know what, this nigga is not for me. Because he doesn't care.
Well, you have to remember, she does. No one's really for her,
And
to be
you are
honest. At
absolutely
that
right.
point, because
You are
her mom, we
absolutely
later
right.
find out she sells her off and throw her under the bus too.
Absolutely.
So it seems like kind of everybody is like, moving as a unit,
You are
until we find out
right.
later there is one person that is in her corner.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Thank God for her.
and I don't think Tina at this stage, I don't think she really even. And also, let's not forget to mention that right after they had the baby, after she had the baby in the hospital, she had found out her name was changed. And so she's like, Tina, who's Tina? She didn't even like that name.
Yeah.
And so like it's like he was stripping away her identity piece
And
by
he
piece.
was. He was.
And I think the only difference is usually like with situations, from what I have researched, with abusers, they usually want to isolate you from your family. But in
Hmm.
this case, it didn't seem like he had to do that as much, because
He knew
the
her mama
mom
was
was
shit.
already in
Hmm.
cahoots with him. So
Hmm.
he really didn't have to work. She made
Yep.
it easy for him.
Yep. I agree with that. I agree with you
Do
wholeheartedly.
you feel like if she had her father in her life that this would have happened the same way?
If the father was a good man, I feel like it would have been a completely different story because she would know what love looked like from a male standpoint. Far as like, um, she would her dad would have been the um the role model of what a man would look like in her life. If he was a healthy good guy, if he was a great guy, I feel like it would have been a different story. She'd been able to see, okay, I can't, he is not that type of dude. He is not that nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead and end this right here and move the hell on and just do what the hell I need to do. I feel like it would have been a different story. I do feel like that. I don't think she would have dated him. I feel like she
Now,
probably would have worked with him, but I don't feel like she would have entertained him in that sense because she would have known like he's not it. He ain't
but
it.
I don't even think it was a situation of, I don't think she had a choice but to, because he came on to her. It's
You
not
can
like,
say no. You
but
can say no.
you think she could have said no at that age?
I do feel like at that age you still could say no, but are you
I
maybe
disagree.
easily
Mm-mm.
persuaded? Maybe.
I disagree, because you saw how she was already like not knowing what was going on. Like she didn't even realize.
She was green, but
I don't. In that situation, I really don't. And she was still 16.
I was gonna talk about that. He was a you might have to take that out.
Yeah,
He
he.
was a PO. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know PF, PDF,
yeah,
whatever you call him.
yeah.
Yes.
So she would. How can she say no? Now let's tie this
But
also in. Okay.
unless she talked to her daddy. Because if like you said, if the dad was in her life, he was a man of morals and all of that good stuff, I feel like this would not have been it. I feel like the daddy would have been like, no, you got me messed up. This is my daughter. I feel like she would have had someone to help her make some decisions because like he would have been there to protect her from the PDF.
I don't know, because then it makes me. I just thought about with like the R. Kelly people, with the parents. And like,
Oh, you
I
feel like
mean,
he would have been bought?
you saw how the mom was bought.
But that
You
don't
know what
mean
I'm
the father
saying?
would have done the same thing. Like if we
But
don't know the character,
those young ladies had dads in their lives. I'm sure some of them had two household parent, two
I
parent household. Excuse me.
understand. No, I
So
understand what you're saying, but it all depends on the character of the person. We don't know what the daddy was like. Apparently, he won't all that because he won't there.
character is great when until money is involved.
But not everybody is like that though. Some people like you know what? No, all money ain't good money. Everybody ain't like that though.
I wonder if the people that are watching, what's the general consensus? Do you feel like most people are like that, or they're not like that? I personally think most people are like that,
You said
where they
most,
can be
not
bought.
all. You said most, not all. So we'll
Most,
take that.
but majority of them.
Yeah, yeah, not all, but it is a lot.
All of them.
It's a lot in it.
Excuse me.
Listen, I'm trying not to be. Everything ain't bad, but I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying because
Hmm.
it happens a lot. It happens hell of a lot in the music industry, just in general. We ain't gonna just say the music industry, but just in
Hmm.
general. Like you said,
Hmm.
money talk,
Hmm. For sure. So
money
yeah,
talk.
so he takes her out of the hospital, and then I mean, it couldn't have been like, you talk about the dangling the carrot in front of somebody. Hell, he holds out the ring. You know, they're about to go to Mexico to get married. He wants to take her to Mexico to get married. And he's like, you know, then we go to New York. She's like, New York? What's in New York? He's like, you and me, Ike and Tina. And then he's like, there's something on my mind. And then it's like, so the way that I can visualize all this in my head, I've seen this more than I should probably. But so then from there we go through this montage of they got
Yeah,
married in Mexico, and
it
it
just
to me
happens so fast.
it happened too fast. It even
Yeah,
seems a little weird, just like the montage we see. We see a montage of him driving off, riding off with her running behind the car. I'm like, this already some weird stuff going on there. And so then we get to our very first actual, like, legit performance of her as Tina Turner.
hmm
And she performs A Fool in Love. But before we get to that part, backstage in the dressing room, she's clearly visibly not physically well.
hmm
And she's telling him, there's my throat. I don't think I can go up there and do this tonight. And he instantly gets offended and takes it personal and calls her all kind of MFs and everything but a child of God. And so, what are your thoughts about this from the standpoint of when Black women specifically, and even we can tie this into some current events, like with the mom or the woman that was pregnant at the hospital, and she was saying that they were telling her she wasn't dilated enough, so they didn't allow her to deliver the baby there, and then she ended up having the baby in the vehicle on the side of the road. But when Black women are not treated well from a standpoint of when they're not told, like when they're saying they are not feeling well, or they're not able to just rest when they need rest. They always have to justify it, or always have to. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I do feel like it's Black women are taught to keep going even while breaking. Like the expectations of what when Black women have to go through, even when in relationship, toxic relationships, like we have to be there, we have to pick up the pieces, we have to wear all these hats, we can't rest, we have. To me, it's like you a strong. What's that saying they say, Quez? You a strong Black woman. What they be saying?
Yep, strong Black woman. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that's a little bit too much. It's a bit much because sometimes you just don't want to be strong. Sometimes you just need to just be. You know what I'm saying? And
I actually don't
I
say strong Black woman. I don't. I push back against that. I learned early on, a little earlier on, to not use that adjective to describe a Black woman. I may say powerful Black woman,
we can
but
take that.
strong to me,
Yeah.
it kind of sits in that realm. Even like kind of how we were talking about a couple episodes ago about the masculine and feminine both having those, you know, attributes.
Hmm.
And I think like that is something that Black women are expected to be: strong and tough and have this masculine aura. Now that's who you are naturally, then fine. But I know some people, they don't want, they want to rest in their feminine, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so to say you are a strong Black woman means that you can take all that you can take. Like, why should you have to take all that you can take?
No.
I don't want to take. What do we? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they may not want to go through all that. Why you have to go through a whole bunch of pain to be
And
happy?
abuse yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, I'll push back
And we
against the strong Black woman trope.
putting ourselves last, and
Hmm.
it's no,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not fair to us. you know.
Not at all.
Ugh, child. Ooh, okay.
But then we get to the scene of the performance of A Fool in Love. Now, one thing I will
Mhm.
say, I think Angela Bassett is probably like my favorite actor of all time.
Absolutely. Yep.
I really do. I used to feel like it was Kimberly Elise. I love Kimberly Elise as
She's
well.
great too. Yeah. Yeah.
They both are my favorites. And so, but Angela Bassett, just like you get the tear, he kisses her on the cheek, and like to the outside world, and this also is another aspect, like to the outside looking in, you see it as a romantic thing, the way they set it up, where he comes and he sees that she's not gonna sing at first, then he comes, gives her a look, kisses her on the cheek, that tear rolls down, because at that point I feel like she realized, this is my life. This is what I have to do in order to gain love, and to garner that love that I really am longing for. Like you were saying, that
Mhm.
belonging. And so this is another thing I want to talk about real quick. So in one of my recent therapy sessions, my therapist talked to me about the difference between fitting in and belonging. I
Mm,
didn't know that they were different.
mm.
The way she explained it to me is that fitting in is when you are basically doing what you need to do as a uniform, whatever it is. Let's say you go to work, you have a uniform at work or whatever, and you wear that. That's fitting in. You're doing what you are expected to do. It doesn't. The people there may not care either way about who you are as a person. They just want to make sure you are in proper code
Uniform.
of
How you,
uniform.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Belonging is being surrounded by people who want you and admire you and love you back just as much as you want to be there. And that to me really opened up a lot of things for me, because it's like a lot of times we say, "Oh, I don't fit in here." Well, you may not fit in there, but do you belong there? It's the deeper
Mm,
question. Do you belong? Do you feel a sense of belonging? So the people that you are around, like families, our families that we are born into, we may not necessarily feel like we fit in. We may feel like the black sheep, and you may be.
uh-huh.
You all
Yep.
have the same bloodline,
Yep.
but you may not necessarily belong there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And it kind of goes back to what we were saying with India Ari, you know,
Mhm.
get it together. Your kin can hurt you just because we're blood don't mean that we're supposed to be in relationship,
Yep.
because we may not be compatible. We may not
Mhm.
be, I may not belong in
Mhm.
this home or in this family. I may be born in it by default, but that's not necessarily a belonging.
That don't mean we family,
It don't mean we
basically.
family. So,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
yeah.
I
So,
agree.
do you have anything to say about this scene, about her performing on stage, full in love?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just love this performance. Like it just seeing her beautiful legs and just how she just those
Man,
arms, all of that. Like
she was in shape.
she,
Okay, that woman was
yeah.
in shape, and they had the perfect actress to play her role because
Mm-hmm.
she's also
Mm-hmm.
in shape. Angela
Mm-hmm.
is
But I did
brick
read
house.
somewhere that they had her do very strenuous workouts to get her
Okay,
arms like that for this
just like
film.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's interesting to see. And so from there we get to after, the performance and everything. Now things take a different turn. So pick us up where we are from there, Ashley.
Okay, so the next scene, just correct me if I'm wrong, Quiz. That scene leads into the first violent scene. Am I right? Because we doing this a little.
Well, I
I
mean, we
told
can
you.
go there if you want. Yeah, we can. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Um,
So, oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in this moment right here, to me, this is the shift. Like it was already shitty before, but this is the shift. This is the moment I feel is very painful to watch because I've been there as well. But it shows the shock of the like abuse and the fact that he did it in front of people. And he gave no fucks about it. So this is yeah, he didn't care. This is when they were out in the back in the pool, chilling, spending time with family or whatever, with the band or whatnot.
Hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Quest, but he was asking her how did he like, because I think he was writing on another song, right? And
Yes. Yeah. So
yes,
she was out in the pool with the girls,
yes, with the
and
girls.
he's in the studio, and I think was he doing drugs at that point? Or
Yes, I think yes, because I feel like the drugs came from him not being seen the way that Tina Turner was seen. That's how I feel. I feel like
okay.
he envied her. But you're right, he was on drugs. And all Tina said was it sounded like the other songs that you've written before. And
Hmm.
so he got upset in his feelings and he ended up abusing her in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so
The kids specifically. So
the
the
kids,
the
yes.
band members, they were out in the pool, like the background singers, but
Yes.
they heard everything, the screams.
Yes.
And so, like you said, she told him the songs sound like the
The
same.
same.
But to me,
Yeah.
what I just heard was like fragile male ego, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
fragile male ego. And he just, that sent him over
It
anything.
did.
And then sometimes I feel like you can internalize it and blame yourself. Like maybe if I wouldn't have done this or said this, but it probably would have happened at some point
Anyway,
anyway,
because it
you
was
know.
within him. Mhm.
And so the scene where actually she falls over the couch,
Yeah.
I did read that she actually broke her hand when
Oh
she
my god,
fell.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So that actually, like that, I guess that was one take, and looking at it, it did look very painful to fall like that. I don't know if that was how they choreographed it,
Oh my
but
god.
even when he like punched, like that to me was like, I'm like, but you have to remember, this is depicting what occurred based on Tina's novel, her story, and so even in real life, I remember I did, read that Tina suffered broken noses as a result of multiple times, not just once, but broken noses as a result of the abuse and things at Handsome Ike. So that did occur. That did occur. And really, I want to also say this too for everyone watching and listening. The goal of this is not necessarily to talk too much about the film per se, but I think it is important to go with the narrative, like the sequences of the narration, to be able to pull the talking points that are important and that are aligned, that go back to like what we focus on with like esteem and identity and healing and beauty, different things like that. Because I do feel like even though she wanted that sense of belonging, I do feel like that there was something about her that didn't feel like she was worthy of anything, better than him. Like he took
Mhm.
interest in her because her mom left. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so that was, like you said, the abandonment wound
Mhm.
was there early on. And it makes me think, like, when you are feeling like you are abandoned, you start to think you're defected or
Yeah.
defective, and there's something inherently wrong with you.
Yeah. You blame yourself. Yes. Mhm. I agree. Mhm.
So, but yeah, so after that, Jackie, who is played by Vanessa Bell Calloway, she is like, you kind of see her step up a little bit and be the voice of reason for her.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, because she sees that. She sees that Tina needs to stand up for herself,
Hmm.
and she needs
Hmm.
someone to have her back. Yeah.
And so she's kind of like silently supportive for her at this
Mhm.
point, at least.
Mhm.
And so, but Tina kind of gets at her about speaking like that. Like, don't do that, Jackie. She's like, don't do that, Jackie. Don't do that. And so she tells her, don't, don't do that, because it's not. She's taking the blame, blaming herself, like you said. And so I think in her mind, even looking at Jackie's character or Vanessa Bell character, she looks at her like almost like, to me, I saw like she's looking at her like she's this strong woman, or this, like, you can take this, like, you're okay with this kind of thing, versus it being like, I don't think she was necessarily judging her for getting on her about that, but I do feel like she was almost like feeling sorry for her,
Yeah, absolutely.
feeling
Absolutely.
sorry for her. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
So, and then we go on and on, just kind of moving the pace along a little bit. Different performances that they do, and then you start to see things unravel even more. There are some attempts that Tina does make to leave,
Mhm, mhm.
and so there's an instance where she does get into, she's trying to sneak out at night, and she calls her mom, and her mom tells her that Ike bought her a house. And Tina lets her know, we're coming to see you. Don't tell Ike. And then you see a few scenes later, maybe a scene later, Ike is calling, and she's like, "Hello, Ike." And then, I know how you feel about the mom, so I ain't gonna ask you about her no more. But do you? I would think. Do you feel like her mom is just as bad as Ike?
Yeah. I feel like they cut from the same cloth. I
Mhm.
just because I feel like she just again she didn't give a fuck about her daughter. Her daughter was like, "Mom, I need you right now." You know what I'm saying? This man is abusive, but she wasn't hearing that because she enjoyed the gifts that she was receiving from Ike, and Ike knew that. He already knew what type of woman she was, so he played his part. He already knew. That's just how I feel. He knew that the mama won't shit because he won't. He knew that all I have to do is like you said, dang a carrot in front of her face, give her a couple bucks, and she gonna be on my side. She gonna be all right, So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and the fact
And
that the mama told Ike where she was, that
mhm.
was foul.
Mhm.
That was foul.
And let's not forget too, at some point when they moved into, I guess they were moving into a new home, Ike and Tina, the previous woman, Lorraine, she dropped off his kids, two kids. So now Tina has to take on not
Wow.
only two kids from a relationship she had nothing to do with, and her own two kids that she has with Ike at some point, and still being a mom, performer, a career woman. Like, let's make it practical for people. You are a woman, you are a black woman, you are working, you're a wife, you have a career, you have to be a parent, you have to be a therapist, you have to
You
be
wearing
a
all these
cook,
hats.
you have to be
Exactly.
all of this,
A
and
stripper. All of that.
all of these
Yes.
things, and then you
Yeah.
still have to be abused and mistreated and disrespected.
Exactly.
And so it gets to a point, and we might be getting a little ahead of we get a little ahead before I say that part. So we do get to, showing more of the performances. And so my favorite performance from this film is the Proud Mary performance. That's where you
Mhm.
really you just see all the stuff she was putting up with, dragging him out of the studio, helping him, being the good wife,
Yeah.
showing up for him in ways that he was not showing up for her. And one
Taking
of the
care of
things
his
I
needs.
always wonder too is her mental health. I'm like, how did she sustain that so long? Because this is before she got into her spiritual practice. So
Yeah, it
I just
was.
wonder, how did she get that, garner that
I don't know.
sustainability for that day in and
And
day
she
out?
probably just felt like that was the right thing to do. You know, she didn't have a great role model and to see what a marriage or relationship should look like. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like she was like, well, this is my husband. I really just think that she just didn't know how, she didn't see it no other way at that time. I do feel like that
Mhm.
at that time.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, and the drugs really took a toll
Oh
with
yeah, the
him.
drug.
Now, do you feel like, is it okay to say, or is it safe to say that the drugs played a role in his behavior, or do you feel like he was that way even without that?
I feel like he was coping. I feel like it was other things going on with him prior to it. He was already shitty before the drugs. I just feel like the drugs amplified that. I do feel like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
and then we get to a scene where, so at some point there was a scene too where Phil Spector, who is he was a producer, musician back in the day, and he admired Tina and he wanted to work with her exclusively, her.
Yeah, he did.
And so I didn't take too kindly to that because he wanted to be the star. He wanted it to be about him. Even back to when they did the "Fool in Love" song before they
Mhm.
went out, he was like, "They're here to see me.
And
They
they're
ain't
like,
here to
"No,
see
we don't
you."
wanna see you."
Yeah,
Right,
right. And
right.
so drawing back to that, he starts to make like little smart remarks about her. She wouldn't do this for a white man, but she wouldn't do this. Yeah, this is the when they're at the restaurant and, yeah, I guess
I
having breakfast or something. And
mhm.
so this is where the scene comes up where the infamous scene of the eat the cake anime comes into play.
Yeah.
And so there are two fans that come up to her to ask for an autograph, and he kind of kind of hostile towards the kids because obviously she's the star and he's not. And so Jackie at this point is fed up with this BS.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
She
that's
fell
when
for it.
he's attempting to make her eat cake, making
Yeah,
anime eat cake, and she's saying no. So this is where we do get to kind of see her.
yeah.
It's not that she, even back to what you were saying about her, she could have said no. It's not that she didn't try to advocate for herself. I just don't think she realized her power.
Mm.
Because if you remember that very first time when they were about to perform Fool in Love, she did try to express herself, say, I'm not feeling it.
You right. You
Then we
right.
get to this scene where she's saying, I don't want any cake. But he's still trying to force
Mhm,
it. And so he ends up smashing it in her face. She takes the cup of ice and throw it on him.
mhm.
And then that's when Jackie, again, a
She
strong
support
black woman
yeah,
trope, she stands up for her.
yeah, yeah.
But as a result, she gets slapped down to the
She got
floor.
slapped. Yeah, he would've got his
And
ass beat the fuck up.
actually, so the actor, Vanessa Bell Calloway, she did say she actually got slapped in that scene
Ooh.
because the choreography that they had practiced with how they have to do the
Mhm.
movements. Well, for some reason, her and Lawrence Fishburne in that moment, they were not in sync with each other with the timing.
Oh.
And she said that was a real slap. She really got slapped.
D Okay, so that makes sense. That
So
makes
that
sense how she
role
was
that she
acting.
did, all that was
Yeah.
real. And
Okay, that
so,
makes I'm like, "That look a
but
little
she's but she
real."
said in the moment she
Yeah.
thought this is gonna be really good. Now I don't know how I could have had the same kind of quick thought process like that, because that, you know, but
Wow.
you saw how she reacted.
The way
And
she
so,
reacted,
yeah,
yeah.
the way she reacted. And so that was the end of her being with that band, with the
Yeah.
Ike and Tina
She left.
review.
She left, yep. Mhm.
So from there, things just get even worse because now she doesn't even have that support system anymore with
Right.
with Jackie. And
Uh-huh.
so we get to a scene where after they're back in the studio again, well, Tina's in the studio And everyone is in the lounge listening to her record the song, and she's doing Nutbush, Tennessee, or Nutbush. That's the song she wrote. And so he's on something. He's clearly got white stuff around his nose.
Yeah, and
Doing
that's
the
what he didn't care.
He
He
didn't
just did
care.
not
He
care.
wasn't
Yeah.
hiding it. And everyone
Mhm.
around him. Tell me about what are your thoughts about everyone around him? The men that were around him, seeing they knew they weren't dumb to not know what was going on.
I mean, to me, that's like the same as I guess you like with Diddy. All those people that knew what he was doing, but they chose
Mm,
not to say nothing, or they were just too pussy to say something.
I didn't think
But
about
they
that. That's a
saw,
good point.
you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
saw that the power that he had,
Hmm.
um, they probably was scared. They probably like, well, then did he roughing her up? What he gonna do to me? To me, usually, to me, this is just my opinion. If a man put his hands on a woman, he is a bitch. He is a bitch. I feel like, especially, I may be speaking ahead of myself, when she stood up for herself at the end. I know we're gonna go to that, but when she stood up for herself, you realize she kind of put fear into him a little bit, like, oh shit, she's standing up for herself. So to me, it's kind of like, I feel like the men that was around him, either they were doing it or they were just afraid of the man. Or some people just like, well, that ain't none of my business. I mean, shoot, it is what it is. And that's just how I feel about it.
Mm, I mean, yeah, I definitely think that's a really relevant point that you made about with the Diddy things. I didn't even think about that. I try to keep myself far removed from that situation because I just feel like
I
it's just
understand.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel
But
you.
no, I that definitely is a great correlation to draw from.
Hmm.
Perfect example. And it also makes me wonder all of those enablers, like you, even when I asked you about is the mom just as bad, and you said they cut from the same cloth.
Yeah,
They all the only difference is they're not the one physically doing it, but they're just as silence is complicity.
yeah. If anything, she started.
So this scene is very hard to watch. And so after this, he's getting on her about how she's performing the song, and she kind of, you can see she's sure her patience is growing thin with
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah.
And so he kicks everybody out of the studio. She's thinking everything is okay at this point. And then she's letting him know, okay, I'm done for the night, Ike. And
Mhm.
then the worst ensues. And on the TV version of What's Love Got to Do with It, because let me say this, that was my first time. I saw this movie, like I said, for the first time when I was 15.
Mhm.
But the TV version doesn't show the actual assault part of the
Yeah.
sexual aspect of it.
Oh
It just
yeah.
shows the physical, like the violence part, the hitting part. But he actually R
Great
words
sir.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
grapes her. And so that I what are your thoughts about that? Being that they were married.
I think of course he was wrong. Just because you're married, it doesn't give you the right to take her body like that, especially if she didn't give you the consent to it. And she
Yeah.
already was emotionally and physically not. Excuse me, the background. My mama coughing, Lord. Yeah. Can you hear it? Okay.
No, you're
I'm
good.
so sorry. I can hear it. But he was wrong. I feel like he was wrong. He was wrong.
Hmm. Hmm.
Ain't nothing else to say about it. He was wrong.
Yeah. And so now, remind you, this is the second big violent act that we got to see. But think about all the other things in between that, even that we didn't get to see, how often it occurred and things. And so from here, this is where things really take a dark turn for Anna, where she overdoses and she's at the counter, not the counter, she's at the mirror in the dressing room, and she's, doing her makeup. And the other ladies, they can see something's visibly wrong. And so she ends up having to be rushed to the hospital. And even in in her weakest moment, he's still telling her, if you don't make it, I'm gonna kill or unalive you, excuse me. And it's like, yeah. So this is just a bad situation all the way around. We get to her at the hospital. He didn't even be up there with her. No, and I'm surprised none of the other ladies were up there with her. But she did tell them not to let anyone in. So maybe that's why they weren't, the other ladies weren't there. But then the nurse comes and says, I know, Mrs. Turner, I know you say you didn't want any company, but your sister is here. And it's
Yeah.
not her biological sister.
But she
Back
she
to
was a
what,
sister. Yeah.
and even at this point, I'm like, where's her biological sister at?
True. True.
Where's her mom at? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so Jackie comes in, and what I love about Jackie is that she's the one that kind of reminds her who she is. She says Anime Bullock, and then she's like Tina Turner. And like that, just I felt like that warmed my heart because to
Mhm.
me it felt like Tina realized I do got somebody that loves me and care about me and that wants to see me make it. And I think for a lot of people, just knowing that, there's strength in that. That's why, like, how they say, like, with women that are in these abusive relationships and you realize they are, sometimes the safest way to help them is to stay in the background because they know they have a fortress to go to.
Mhm.
Because if they are, what I'm saying, like, sometimes it can be dicey because depending on how malicious the perpetrator is, the abuser is, they may lash out at the people that are helping you.
Yeah.
So if you keep that kind of down low kind of connection, at least you have somewhere to go.
You know what's crazy? And you may look at me crazy when I say this, but I do feel like her voice became her only safe space. I do.
Tina's.
Yeah. Tina
Mm-hmm.
Turner. Because that was the only time when she was on the stage where she felt powerful.
Mm-hmm.
She felt like she was, I mean, very much so, very powerful. But I feel like that was just her place where she can tell her story. Because even when them songs, if you listen to the songs, you're like, damn, that's the life she living. You know what I'm saying? If you
Mm-hmm.
listen to her music when she was performing, she was telling her story. And if we just take out the beat, to me, I feel like that could have been because she was crying on stage. I feel like that was a cry for help if we really was paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Taking Tina out of the situation, taking the fame out, if we really listen to what she was saying. And
I don't
I
know.
just
I
felt
don't know if she actually wrote those songs though. But like you said, I think for the movie's sake, they
for the
did
movie's
they did
sake,
align the lyrics with the
with what was
sequences.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that made
And I do
sense.
feel like that's yeah, in the movie. I do feel like she transmuted her trauma on stage. I feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she was one of the best entertainers and singers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I do feel like that stage was her safe space at
Her
the
safe
time.
space. I agree with that, and I think I do remember her saying like that's where she. Not to say she felt like that's where it made it all worth it, but I think if anything, that's where she got the relief that she needed, and
Right.
even those in those short moments. And I
Yeah.
don't see how she powered through that with the physical abuse and things, and still
Yeah.
having to push through that. That's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough. And so, Jackie comes in, reminds her who she is. She tells her,
Mhm.
"Hey, if you need somewhere to stay, I have a sofa bed.
Mhm.
It's yours if you want it."
Mhm.
And so, at this point, what I do see with Tina, she's growing that like fed up look. Over
Yeah.
every scene you start to see
She
from
was
here on out,
over
she's
it.
like over it. Like,
Yeah, she was over
you
it.
know. And
She was
so she
over
gets
it.
back to the house, and he's doing his
Mhm.
same old thing. A woman is there with him, and everybody else is there, and it's just BS, from there. And then at that point, we do see her eventually take Jackie up on her offer. She visits Jackie,
Mhm.
and then Jackie introduces her to Buddhism.
Mhm.
And that's where I kind of want to tie this part back into our last episode with the talk about spirituality, because Tina finds her strength in Buddhism.
Absolutely.
And growing up, what I learned about Tina, because like I said, my first introduction to Tina Turner was really through this film at 15.
Mhm.
And so, but anything I had heard prior to that, if I had heard anything, it was like more of like a jokingly kind of way. Like I didn't really,
That's true.
it wasn't her. I didn't hear about her in the most esteemed kind of way, for lack of a better way to say that. So she grew up Christian in a Baptist background, and so Buddhism, I'm sure she dealt with her level of scrutiny because of
Mhm.
her beliefs, but it grounded her. It grounded her, and it gave her that escape. How do you, with you and your spirituality being unconventional from what you were taught, do you share that same level of escapism with yours?
Yeah. um, I feel like with my spiritual beliefs, and I'm can't speak for anyone else, but I feel empowered. To me, I feel like there's healing in it. And of course, it's kind of accountability, but there is definitely healing in my spiritual practice. And you couldn't pay me to go back to being a Baptist, Christian Baptist. It's just a feeling. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Um, it just is liberating. It's liberating. Yeah.
What I love about what Jackie told Tina in this moment, she said she's a Buddhist. She says when you chant, you can see yourself clearly, and when you can see yourself clearly, you can change things. You can change your life, and so the chant was Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and that, even saying that is soothing for me for some reason when I hear her say that, like Nam
Mhm.
Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I've actually like got to hear Tina say that in an interview, and she really, like, you can say it faster or you can say it slower, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
different variations of frequencies. I think that it does something for the, I don't know, for your
Mhm,
chakra, for your your spiritual energy. But
mhm.
it I'm glad that she found that. I felt like that was her key out. That's what unlocked that. So we talk about how Jackie was very pivotal in her life because she
Absolutely.
allowed her to see that there is the light at the at the end of the tunnel. You just have to get yourself there.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
get yourself there. And I think it kind of says a lot too, is for as easy as it was for you to get yourself in that relationship, you got to be the one to get yourself out of it. And it starts here. As we can see, she was already out mentally before she was out physically.
Yeah, she was. She was.
And so from there, we see her now integrating this into her life, and she's not ashamed of it. I'm
Yeah. Oh,
surprised he
yeah,
didn't try to take that from her.
that
Really
part.
surprised.
Mhm.
And so, and again, this is based on the movie. Maybe in real life he may have, I don't know. But
Yeah.
on the movie, he was not trying to. If anything, he tried to like ignore it and like drown it out.
Yeah, he was. Mhm.
And so from here, we get to, I say, the breaking point, the boiling point, where they are on the airplane,
Mhm.
and she's like, she got this beautiful white suit on,
Yeah.
and she's not, don't come leaning on me, nigga.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And she's just unbothered. And then they get in the limo. What I love what she told him, she's like, go straight to hell. Like,
Yeah.
and then they get in the limo,
Little salesman. Yeah.
and this is where the fight ensues. This is where
Yeah.
she gets that power to fight back.
Fight
She
back.
unleashes that power. She had it all along, but
Yeah.
she realizes the power, and she they get a little bit of each other, honestly. But they go into the hotel. Now this part seemed unrealistic to me, like that nobody would make any like calls or anything or wellness checks.
Yeah, because clearly you see that she got blood
Yeah,
all over her, in her
yeah,
face. I mean, she had glasses on, but we see the blood on your face. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? He
on her
had blood
suit
on
and
him.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't. I yeah. I feel like that's unrealistic as well because it just don't make sense. But they made it work for the movie for that time.
Now, actually, I do want to know: have you ever been in a abusive relationship?
Mhm. Mhm. And I fought. I fought back. There are times where I feel like I wasn't going to get out of it. There are times where I thought I was going to die, but excuse me, unalive. See, we got to go back to this quiz.
Just talk. It's
Uh,
okay.
I had my moments where I felt like I wasn't going to make it. But I don't look at myself as a victim to it. I don't because I just don't. I just don't. Um, I can tell you with those relationships because it was more than one. I I would say that I saw a part of me that I didn't know existed, good and bad. So what that may look like for me was I needed time to heal whatever that was within me that I kept attracting the same type of men. You know what I'm saying? And because I'm not blaming myself for speaking my truth. Hell no. I'ma still say what I need to say. And I could have been better with how I said certain things, but I still spoke my truth. And
Meaning that you spoke your truth to them, and that's what caused the physical violence. Is that what you mean?
mhm, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you said more than once is more than one relationship you've this has
Yes.
occurred.
Yes.
So was this something where, because I know in some situations women may feel like, well, I fought back, so it wasn't abusive.
No, it was
We just
abusive.
we just fought.
It was damn sure abusive on both
Mhm.
ends. I would say for both ends because I damn sure was getting my licks in. I
But I'm
was.
but I'm saying, were you the perpetrator of the, because you're defending
No,
yourself
I
is different
don't.
from.
No, 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 no. I never just put my hands on
Mhm.
anybody. Like for me, you would have to have put your hands on me in order for me to put my hands on you in that type of way.
Mhm.
Because I am defending myself. Like you're not about to sit here and put your hands on me and then I'm just sitting here, and no, I know either both of us is gonna die or we're not. No, I'm going to make sure. Quiz. I'm sorry.
I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know
hmm
what was the purpose of staying in that relationship under those circumstances.
It was definitely self esteem for sure. It was definitely my self esteem. hmm
Meaning that you felt like that's all you deserved, or you felt like that you.
Absolutely, I feel like
Okay.
that was all that I deserved at that time.
How bad did the abuse get?
The police was called. hmm
But as far as physical, like how
Yeah,
bad did it get?
I mean, I was choked out. I
Mhm.
was, using objects to make sure he felt the same pain I felt that he caused me. So I definitely made sure, and this doesn't make it right, but I was fighting for my life. I made sure I wasn't ready to leave this earth by the hands of a man.
So if it hadn't been you defending yourself, then there was a possibility that you could have not no longer
Absolutely.
been here.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
absolutely. Yeah.
Was it ever, where on your body were you attacked?
You just asking too deep questions,
I
Quest.
mean, we got to be real.
I wish I had some questions for you, but I mean, it was all over. It was all over because when you're in the middle of fighting, you doing whatever to defend yourself and making sure you don't die
All
or
over, meaning
lose.
like, did you have, when Tina looked at herself in the mirror, did your face look like that?
I can say my face didn't look like that, but I've had a couple bruises and some bleeding
Mm.
going on. Yeah, I've had
In
news.
your mind, when you're dealing with this, when you are
hmm
after your the aftermath, right?
hmm
Did what was going through your mind? Like, I can't believe I'm in this. I said I would never be in
Absolutely,
this.
absolutely. Because I was talking to one, I think I was talking to my mom. I was like, it's just funny how you say, because I was one of the ones I was watching more. I'm like, Mom, I would never be in that situation. I would never do that. And well, at the time I was in that situation. I'm like, yo, I said I would never be in this situation. I'm
Mm,
allowing this to happen to me.
mhm,
Then, but wasn't ready to leave. It was like, okay, I love him. Good child. I love him, he is a good man. If you saying it out loud, you like, girl, bye. He was a good man, he does this for me. And it was all types of that was my mindset at the time. You know what
mm.
I'm saying? So I would never thought I would have been in those situations. But my self-esteem played a huge part into why
Now, I know you said that you
I
grew up with a
entertain those
two-parent household. Did you see that in your household with your parents?
That's the thing, I did not see that. My
Mhm,
dad never put his hands on my mom, and my mom never put her hands on my dad. So that's why my parents were a little confused, like, "Okay, well, so what?
yeah.
What's up?" Um, Lord Jesus, I'm so sorry, Quiz. Um, so with that being said, it was like, okay, so there is some self-esteem issues.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Now, when you say self-esteem issues, right? Because
Mhm,
I think it's important to be very specific. Because there's one thing to say, I don't think anybody else would want a person, or is it more than when you say esteem issues, right?
mhm.
What does that sound like? What are those voices telling you specifically? Are you saying, because I'm in my mind, I'm trying to understand, are those voices saying things to the effect of you deserve this, this is what you did to yourself? What are they saying to you specifically?
I mean, at that time, Quest, where my mindset was, I was blaming the other person. I think at that time I was more desperate to be in a relationship, so I was just taking anything. I'll say
Mhm,
that. So, like I've dated the older guys that tried to control me, and they saw that they couldn't control me in that way. I they that's how they would lash out on me, and they would do things, like try to show out and show off in person, in front of people. I'm sorry, in front of people. Um, Very much so similar to what Anime's situation, but which was very embarrassing, very much so embarrassing. Um, but at that time, I was like, "Yeah, he's doing this. He's this. He's that. He's that." But again, me now, my mindset is okay. Well, what was I marrying? What was he? He was a reflection of me in some type of way. So at that time, I was like, okay, yeah. It just became I became numb to it. I became numb to it. So I was just like,
how early on did the abuse start? Like, give me an example of like how early on would it start? Like a
I would
month
say like
in, like a.
I would say probably like 2, 3 months. Still new, but again, I didn't. I had a lady, we were actually the guy I was with at the time, and we were going downtown to do something. I think it was like we were trying to get a house or something like Section 8 or something like some shit like that, right? And the lady, she did not know me. And I knew this was spirit. I knew this was God talking to me. She was like, she didn't know me. I didn't talk to her like that. She was like, you don't need to be with this man, right? She was like, "Is this like your first boyfriend or something?" She's like, "Why are you with him?" I was like, "What the fuck is this lady?" She was reading me down. You know what I'm saying? She was like, "You deserve better." She was like, I know there's a self-esteem issue, but she said you deserve better." And oh, this is bringing back memories. At that time, this man, he was out there. Like we'll talk about that later, in a more private conversation. But he wasn't for me. He wasn't good for me at all. He
Mhm.
just wasn't. I
So
can
in a
say
way, it
that.
sounds like she was your Jackie.
She was
Eh,
definitely
We
my
all need
Jackie,
a Jackie in our lives. That
and
will.
I didn't know
That's,
her. I didn't
yeah,
say anything to her about anything for her to just have
mhm,
came out and said it, so I know that was God, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Mm,
I ask that to just to draw the correlation because there it is important to understand. I feel like to understand with abusive relationships,
mhm.
they don't always start out by somebody boxing you upside your head. It starts out more
Ike.
subliminal and it can be very sinister and insidious and all these things. And I don't think there's one way that it happens for everybody. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of times people they justify the abuse because they're like, well, I fight back, so I'm not no, you're not abusing me. But the fact that you have to fight back, if you didn't fight back, would you still be able to talk and say
That's
this?
true. That's true. That's true.
So it's really serious.
It
And
is.
so we get to, thank you for sharing that. We
Yeah.
get to the scene, the fight. They're at the hotel and she's looking at herself in the mirror. And this is where I think everything kind of goes full circle for her. Like everything comes to a complete halt. And she really sees herself. And I think in my mind, when I look at her, I'm like, this is my life. Not like me personally, but this is her life. Like she's seeing that she's really seeing herself for who she is, where she is.
Yeah.
And so this part always gives me chills, and this is like so empowering. I love the soundtrack that is played during this scene
Mhm.
or throughout this movie, actually, where she is making Ike is asleep on the couch in the hotel, and she is gonna make her run for it. Like this is
Yeah.
it. This part represented so many different things to me. Not only a marriage that is wrong, but a job that's wrong for you, a
Mm,
friendship, a career, whatever. This is that moment because we always. I feel like we and myself. I can relate. I can make this personal about me with a job that I have been doing for so long that I had to gain the strength to leave. But you think about all of the things you might miss out on if this is the right time, the money or whatever, the benefits, whatever that's keeping you tied there. You have to realize if your freedom is worth more than the things that you're receiving. And so
yeah,
in that moment, I felt like she had to make that decision. And so
absolutely.
she knew that she had to leave. And she is heading towards getting out of the hotel. And then it looks like one of the employees call her by her name, Miss Turner. And then that's when she makes her run for it. She just
Yeah,
bolts out. And
she
that
did.
part gave me chills, like the way the music is going. It's like she
Yeah,
was running across the highway, could have got hit by a truck or anything. And she runs to the next, with like a motel or something across the street, which I feel like she probably should have ran a little farther out. But
yeah.
at that point, she just was just trying to get away from him.
Mhm.
And she bared her all. And she's like, my name is Tina Turner. I'm supposed to open it at the Academy tonight. I think she said 38 cents and a mobile
Yep,
card.
yep,
And if she's about to take her ring off, whatever you can, if you give me a place to stay. And
yep.
thank God for the manager saying
Mhm.
I'd be honored. And they gave her, and that's where everything else kind of, that was her exit from Ike.
I
And then we
agree.
see her in the next scene at the court proceedings and they end up getting a divorce. This is one interesting trivia fact to know. The scene where she is willing to give up all the monetary assets and everything,
That's
she
crazy.
actually didn't request her name to be kept in real life. Tina didn't actually ask for her name to be, she said, accept my name. I worked too hard for it. But I do. I'm glad I'm glad that she did get to continue the use of the name because I felt like he could have did something to
Yeah.
counteract her. Like he could have maybe started another Tina Turner
Mhm.
and use
Mhm.
that name, and then he could have sued her for using that name. So yeah,
Mhm.
I am glad they twisted
I
it around
agree.
like that for the sake of the movie. But
Mhm.
so now we're wrapping up with the film itself, and so she's trying to regain her career.
Yes.
She's now performing at hotels, just trying to get some type of exposure. just still do what she loves and all this. And actually, in real life, Tina did say that after she left Ike, she went through a state of struggling. She was on food stamps with her
Yeah,
kids and things
because you
because
starting over. She didn't have
she started
nothing.
over. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
absolutely.
think, and that's a reminder too. Sometimes the once you leave, doesn't mean things are going to turn around for you 100%. You may have to
Not
go
as
through a little bit of
quick.
a challenge, but your freedom and
Absolutely.
your mental sake and your safety is the most
It's
important
everything.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
And so then, eventually she gets her break. We see her
Yes.
about to perform at the Ritz Carlton.
Yes.
And at this point, we did get another scene from Ike where he was trying to enter his life, enter her life
Yeah.
again. I think you call that no contact when you're trying to stay away
Mhm.
from the person, and then they
Mhm.
still try to show up and do that kind of stuff. But anyway, then she ends up, about to perform. He shows up at her dressing room. Somehow he got past security,
I don't know how he
and
did that, but how did he do
yeah,
that? Like, he probably smooth talking.
and so
Probably. Yeah.
then and she should have fired. Somebody's getting
Yes.
fired.
Yes.
Somebody's getting fired. She should have fired the whole
Absolutely.
security.
Mhm.
And so he pulls out a weapon on her, and this is where power really meets reality
Yeah, I
because
agree.
she looks at him straight in the eye. She says, What's that's supposed to scare me? What are
Yeah,
you
you
gonna
did
do?
everything,
Shoot me? Pistol whip
period.
me? Do what you want. I don't care."
Yeah.
And then she did that black woman. Mhm. And then
Right,
she
and then
got
she
up
walked off.
and walked off. And
Yeah.
so from there, we see her perform
Yeah.
What's Love Got to Do with It. I love, 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 love that song so very much. That song
Yeah.
to me is she actually didn't like that song at first. Trivia.
What?
She didn't like that song at first.
And
But her manager at the time, her record producer, they encouraged her to sing it because they knew it would be a hit. But
it
she
was.
actually didn't like it. And it fit her story so
And it
well.
fit her story
It fit
exactly.
her story so well. And kind of goes back to
Exactly.
when I was saying last week about unconditional love.
Yes.
What's love got to do with it?
Yes.
If you're not happy or living a healthy love, the relationship, what's love got to do with
Like
this?
you say, that unconditional love is
Yeah.
it's a no. It should be
So
conditional to love. Yeah.
it's a no for
Uh-huh.
me.
Yeah.
And so then we see the real Tina Turner in the montage in the latter part of the song performance. And that to me is where I'm like, wow, it all kind of like goes full circle for you. And you see
Yeah.
all of the event, like this is that woman.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because her and Angela Bassett look nothing alike.
No,
But
they don't.
Angela captured her spirit so well
I
that
agree.
I
Yeah.
could see her being her. It was really weird. They don't look anything alike in
No.
reality,
Mm-mm.
but there's I don't know, the way she personified her, it just
She did an amazing job. I feel like they picked the perfect person.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Perfect person. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what are your thoughts about this film, actually, as we wrap up?
I feel like this movie, like I said earlier, it was a mirror, especially for the Black household. It shows you what rebirth looks like, transformation. It shows you what resilience look like. And even though it was Tina Turner's story, I feel like it was a lot of Black women's story. I mean, anybody, and it's not just Black women that's being abused, but I feel like it was a lot of us. Like you said, you seen yourself
Mhm,
in her story.
mhm,
I seen me. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And the fact that you see how, or you wonder why, like, how in the hell did she just had the mental capacity to keep going like that
mhm,
without
mhm.
breaking? Because I know if it was me, I damn sure I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind. And so the fact that she just kept going, the fact that she kept going, the resilience within her for me.
And I would even say I don't think she didn't break. I think she broke many times, especially when she was on the brink of unaliving herself. I think that's where it started to really settle in for her that this is not good.
I'll say this. I mean
Mhm.
breaking as in his ass when he was
Oh,
asleep in the
yeah.
bed. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's what
Yeah.
I mean by breaking. Yeah.
And I
But
think,
you're
and that's
right.
a good point. I don't think she even realized the power she had. And I think
Yeah.
that's where to me, it starts in the mind. Like she had that all along. She just didn't know how to access it,
Yes. Exactly.
you know? And so one of the things that I really don't like about Tina Turner's narrative, and this is not necessarily only about the film. I don't like how people use her story as a punchline.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
pun intended, obviously. But
Yeah.
as far as I was up here looking, and there are popular songs by some of people's favorites where they reference anime, Tina Turner.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
line that says beat it like Ike beat Tina, things like that. And to me, I
Disrespectful.
I always feel like Tina Turner doesn't get the. I feel like when the black community think about Tina Turner, they think of What's Love Got to Do with It. They think about the film, Proud Mary, the obvious songs.
Yeah.
But to me, her career really soared after Ike. To me, the Tina Turner that I love was the person that I way after that. Like when she did Private Dancer and
Yes.
Wildest Dreams and all of
Yes.
like that. That's the Tina Turner that I love. Like to
Mhm.
me, and it's unfortunate because I feel like her legacy is always tied to Ike, you know,
I know. I get what you're
and
saying.
that's part of
Yeah.
my anger, my frustration. So I really strongly loathe when people use her story as a joke or any type of anything to be lighthearted about because she is so much greater,
Yeah.
so far greater than that story. And
Yeah.
uh, I prefer her music after Ike
Yeah.
personally. Like I love Tina Turner is one of my favorite artists of all time.
Mhm.
She's like
Mhm.
one of my top five
Yes.
artists, you know.
Yes.
And so I really one of the reasons why I wanted to do this film as well is because I really wanted to just express how I don't like that. I don't like how people use her story as a joke or to something to mock or make fun of and to it's distasteful to me. It's nah, not my Tina.
Yeah.
No.
But it
And
also
so
just
mhm,
it shows you it just shows you the maturity of the audience too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know you can't control how people go about doing or saying things, especially when you're a public figure, but I feel like in the Black community, we do tend to do that a lot.
mhm,
Instead of us like facing trauma and actually healing from it, like we make fun of it because I feel like
mhm.
we don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it happens a lot.
I mean, and it says a lot too. Tina's success really, most of her success was overseas. That's why
It
she
was, that's
in
why
her
she
latter
moved.
in
Yeah,
her latter years she lived in Zurich, Switzerland,
yeah.
and that she that's where that was her final resting place.
Yep.
And so I just feel like the black community kind of because she was rock and roll, so it
Yeah,
wasn't that's not something that we are
Black people
now.
really
Now we're in a different space because of
yeah,
like other artists. Now
yeah,
we want to see that our artists do things outside of R&B and rap and and hip hop. But I do feel like Tina was not necessarily celebrated for her greatness beyond Ike.
mhm,
And her like I said, to me, her legacy is far greater than him.
mhm.
Like she is such a dynamic performer and singer and songwriter, all these things. Like she is that girl.
She was
She
that girl.
really is. And
Mhm.
even her outlook on life is like you said, she didn't break essentially like she didn't break to the point where she was irreparable. And I
Yeah,
think she went through several breaking processes to become who she was.
yeah,
And
like
she
you
seemed very
yeah,
grounded. And she even had a lot of heartbreak after. Like
yeah,
her son Craig, back in like I don't want to quote the exact year, but he years later he ended up unaliving himself.
yeah, yeah,
So like she dealt with a lot of painful things even in her life after Ike.
yeah,
So she's definitely a trooper. Someone that I like I said, whenever I feel like I want to complain about stuff being hard or whatever, I
And
think
yeah,
about her. I think
yeah.
about her. I think about how she pushed through that. And I think her story it transcends whatever the narrative is. It could be you trying to get through school. It could be you trying to get through, raising 5 kids by yourself or whatever. I think about Tina. I think about how she persevered and pushed. Even that's the other part. At 43 years old, 44 years old, revamping her career when
Hmm.
people were telling her it's not going to happen. You're past your prime, and she came out with Private Dancer and like
She was
four
doing her.
Grammys, four
Yeah.
Grammys, and
Yep.
so her story to me is never give up, never give up, keep pushing, and you'll rise. The cream rises to the top. Like
That's
that's
it.
what she represents for me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
What are your closing thoughts, Ashley, before we get out of here tonight?
My closing thoughts, I'm gonna keep it real short, sweet, and simple. I feel like your voice will always make a way for you. Speak up when you need to speak up. Um, your suffering does not cancel your purpose. I feel like it makes you. It builds that, like if you didn't go through it, where would you be now? I feel like
Hmm.
it gives you the backbone that you need,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, to move forward and to grow as the person that you're supposed to be. That's all
For
I have.
sure.
Yeah.
My closing thought is for me is never give up. Don't give
Yeah.
up on yourself. And whenever you think things are hard, think about Miss Anime
Yeah.
Bullock, Tina Turner, and how incredible. Like I said, her story is just it's undeniable. It's inspiring. There's no story like it, in my opinion,
Yeah.
like at all. So on that note, folks, we do appreciate you all for hanging with us tonight or
Absolutely.
today or this morning, whenever you're watching. And please leave a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are about this film, about Tina Turner, about the story, about the topics that we discussed, because it's really important for us to get that feedback from you all. And so that we can know how we're doing, and also so that we can also connect with you all and learn more about you. So, on that note, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.